Let me tell you a story. Let me take you back to the year 2014, on the 18th day of April. You wake up in your bed fairly early in the morning. What better way to start this morning than to place a good old round of Gmod? You know, before you should probably head over to school. Maybe Prop Hunt, TTT, Death Run, whichever you prefer. One server seems to, catch your eye, though. It's one that you usually go to since you recognize the group, except for the fact that the, server name is slightly different. There are 3 exclamation marks and a number symbol at the beginning and ending of it. A lot of servers seem to have that too. Maybe there's some kind of update to Gmod. Probably. You join in regardless. You wait for a bit for the loading bar, for the Lua, for your damn computer to do the thing it's supposed to do, and for this download of this DLL to complete. Looks like it's ready now, and you are about to finally connect to the server and game has crashed. Typical. Somebody probably brought out the infinite client or death machine again. Doesn't matter. All you need to do is just reload the game, try to rejoin, or go to a better server. That's a better idea. And something is wrong. This, right here, is the infamous Gmod cough virus. It's something you've probably heard in passing at least once or twice in iceberg or history videos. It's an pretty inherently funny footnote in the source engine history, all things considered. Imagine you're just playing Prop Hunt in the perfect spot, and suddenly the cup you were playing as started coughing. Not only is it a funny thing to mention in bar discussions or Discord calls, but it also pointed out an inherent flaw in the game's system. You see, when you join a server, there is information and content that needs to be downloaded before you are able to connect. This is normal and completely unavoidable. The problem came when a specific DLL file in the server folder that, once it's connected to, gets downloaded onto your system. Upon the download, the game will crash. This is done not because of any problems with the system, but rather the player. If one server crashes your computer, then you would be inclined to join a different one. Avoid the problem. This is where the DLL in your folder now infects that server when you join, making you the carrier. The virus would then find the server configurations, and if successfully accessed, will then execute the DLL file, causing multiple changes such as the player coughing, sending the action of coughing in the text chat, changing the server's name to include the exclamation marks at the beginning, and also change your Steam name to VinylFixit. Luckily for the Gmod community, it didn't take 5 years to fix this issue. In fact, it only took 1 hour. Considering how fast the spread was and how very noticeable it was, the developers were able to deal with this issue very quickly. In just 1 hour, it was dealt with. Monster. What defines a monster? Well, a lot of things really. For example, a monster can be a creature you ask your dad to check on under your bed. A monster can be an ill-defined enemy in a game of Hunter. A monster could also be a pyro who primarily uses the Phlogistinator, as well as the medic who proceeds to uberset pyro. Those are all very different things, yeah? It's easy to understand how they can hold the title of monster, right? A monster is also a predator in the woods. A monster is also a serial killer. Very different things from the previous group, yeah, but still very appropriate. Turns out an umbrella term is really good at being an umbrella, able to fit so many things underneath, both playful banter and very, very real horrors. The English language. So helpful. But I should probably get to the point, yeah? So, it's been a while since the last time we were here, yeah? The good news is, since my last upload, there have been 5 new uploads. Technically 6 new uploads, and technically 5 new uploads. After the upload of my previous video on the Serverblight, I was going to wait a while and let some uploads pile up. I don't want to be the guy to rip apart every detail every time a new frame is uploaded, not throwing shade or disrespect to people. I just prefer to have the full course on my plate before I start eating. Hope you understand. Luckily for me, I had twice as much food as I had before. I'm really glad with how this series has progressed. If the original 3 uploads were terror-inducing, I would say these new uploads are dread-inducing, focusing more on the actual horror at the center of it, as well as the genuinely tragic parts. I was worried this might have ended up as the same fate that a lot of other long-form horror series tend to end up as, but so far, this series has really kept its quality clutched close to its chest, like a spider and a newly caught fly. You agree, right? I mean, you did see the series, right? Right? Watch the playlist in the description and come back when you've atoned for your sins. Welcome back. Now I can finally show you the Serverblight monster in the video so I don't accidentally spoil it for people who are watching my video first, because what kind of monster would show you the scariest parts first without any of the build-up, thus ruining the potential of enjoying it as a way it was supposed to be seen? I'm not a monster. Hey, speaking of monsters, what the fuck is that thing? In my last video on this series, I spent a good amount of time really examining the contents of the show, and particularly what I personally enjoyed about it, as well as what made the horror so effective. And there was also a good portion about some of the things that really stuck out to me on purpose. How the Serverblight got people to begin with, and why people who were in the server started to move in the ways that shouldn't be possible in the game, as well as speculation on things not quite touched upon yet. But if there's one thing I really did regret about that video, is that in all the time I spent on the terror and the dread that these players are experiencing, I never really spent time on the Serverblight itself, the monster at the center of all of this. Which makes sense, because we only had so much to work with, and its intentions were unclear at the time. Now though, we have don't mind them. They're just taunting us. No, they can't get in here. There's actually no way of getting into this room from the outside. That door over there is just decoration, really, meaning it's safe and secure for us. So, rest assured they won't be able to enter. As for us leaving, well, I've got a couple escape plans at the ready. I'm here because I want to get a front row seat of the monster. This thing has been stalking players in the video game. About time it got a taste of its own medicine. This monster is intelligent, patient, but most importantly, incredibly strategic. It acts only at the most opportune time, ambushing you only at just the right moments, and it doesn't dawdle around either. It watches you, taking as much information as it can, and once you know your enemy, you can use the information you have learned and act upon it. Which is what I plan to do in this video. What kind of monster is this? Because once we are able to identify it, we can get a glimpse at its mentality and use that to properly fight back. So far, I've gathered 4 possibilities of what it could be. A virus, an animal, a person, and a demon. All four very different things, yeah, and some of you are probably confused with certain categories like animal. Some of you are very confused of something a little bit more broad like demon. But don't worry, I'll give them their proper explanation. In the meantime, let's take one more look at the events so far, and try to gather as many notes as we can. So, we meet our protagonist, Aaron Coxaplenty, join a game. Gets told to kill self. Red Dolphin walk off a cliff. Directions get brain blast by Aaron. Jake walks up to see the Heavy is dead, and after seeing the Heavy is dead, tries to disconnect but can't because the Heavy is dead, and for some reason sees that no longer the Heavy is dead. After another edgy matches, Aaron sees Cart on final point. Running into side room, sees Gillisuit moving funny and take over the weapon. After seeing the monster, Aaron walk off a cliff. A new guy appear. Johnny plays the game and sees Gillisuit having fun. Monster tries to reach out, but he Alt F4s. The monster also learns how to do that. On a different time, Aaron and Matt steamroll a server. Everyone hated it. Serverblight loved it though. They can't leave or press a button to die, so they are forced to play the game. Matt sees bait and takes it, getting infected off screen. Scuba Master also fights but gets infected and chases them but gets kicked. Snowdoom banging his head on a wall. They run off and see Johnny, then a weird guy appear. They kill Snowdoom on the way, and Aaron realizes Matt said what too many times and walk off a cliff, seeing drain damage of Snowdoom again. Alright, sorry if that felt like a plot regurgitation. Well, it kinda was. I also needed to do that to bring up a few points that I wanted to make, as well as get everyone up to speed with all of the important information, as well as update my thoughts on certain matters. Let's start with the original one. I mentioned how I thought the Serverblight originally joined the server in the first video, just before people were about to complete the first objective. Originally in that segment, I put the real kid as my pick for Patient Zero, since they were the first one to leave the server after Johnny Alt F4. In the future installments though, the Serverblight connections appear at a more random placement, so it may not exactly be fully the case. That being said, the disconnects and migration really seem to appear in the order of infections. Someone had to be first. And if I had to place my bets on who would be the carrier of a malicious demon virus predator dude, I would put my bets on the guy with the most suspicious ass name in existence. So that's why I think the real kid is the Serverblight. Hell, I would even go so far as to say that they were a medic when they first joined. Not only because of the voice lines.
Come over here! Thank you!
But also because players, when they see a medic, immediately go towards them. TF2 players trust medics inherently, so the Serverblight would then abuse that trust and affect others. With all of that being said, I truly believe that the Serverblight had to originate on Thunder Mountain. It never learned how to disconnect until Johnny did, so this had to be the original infection. However, there has been some new information about it that has come out recently, but I'll talk about that more when we get to it. Now, to the next matter, Pandaria. In the original video, I pointed out that one person on Red Team was never accounted for, that being Pandaria. Now, in the comment section of that video, Derfish clarified that he had never really thought that someone like me would check to see if who was on the server, or double check for that matter, people like me exist to keep up writers at night. So it could just be a case that originally he wanted them to disconnect but forgot to include that. However, a mistake like that can be easily fixed, and they've had several opportunities to fix this. Opportunities that they have taken for some, but not for Pandaria. So, I'm still confident they got away. As for how they got away, originally I thought that they changed into a spy or went invisible. It seemed like the most logical sense at the time. Now, I'm not so sure anymore. I honestly think they could have still remained as Soldier or Heavy when the match started and still got away. Why? We'll get to that. For now, let's start with the new stuff. Starting with...
I opened my eyes. I don't remember falling asleep.
As you all know, I am the master of impeccable timing. As such, I never really had the chance to give Puppet the love and appreciation that it deserved. So, here I will be talking about it. I love a good old creepypasta. The ancient art of making shit up to scare others is always a fun thing. And as a creepypasta, this is a really good and effective one. It really gives us the perspective of what it's like to be assimilated. Fucking awful.
My body feels disoriented. I try to stand, but I'm stuck. Soft, immovable walls all around me. I call out again. How did I get here?
It confirms our worst fears, that Matt and Johnny, and the others, are conscious, and aware, and in agony. Fun! Not only that, but it's also from the perspective of someone who had no chance of avoiding it. The very end of Serverblight, we see that 3 new people enter the server. Headshot Froster, I work at Subway, and that Chernobyl guy. Considering how the focus of the creepypasta is a sniper, and one of the people have Headshot in their names, it's safe to assume that this is Headshot Fraudster.
I can see pastel blues and snow and stone. What's happening here? Another pained moan. I can see my surroundings now. All red cloth and taut skin. Arms and legs and torsos and faces, all bent and stretched and squirming. Growing fingers pierce the flesh on my neck.
HF talks about his experience suddenly waking up, confused to where he is. Slowly coming to the realization that he is in the game, and slowly comes back to his senses. He feels his body and how wrong it is.
I can feel its writhing influence all around my body, pulling my limbs apart, distorting my form. My arms are too long. My legs have too many joints.
He feels his body move in ways that are not only uncomfortable but against his will, and he tries to resist, but he feels a smile behind it, taking pleasure in his resistance.
It savors my resistance. Then I feel a million burning pixels sear my flesh, and I scream for it.
As it moves on to another hunting ground. Assimilation begins with a standard match, possibly the calm before the storm. I would like to mark out the members of the server here, but it appears that, nobody has died yet. Regardless, our protagonist enters the frame. Hell yeah, live action. We meet our protagonists, Cyrenex or Gavin, played by one of the Germans of all time, Lino. Gavin runs into the battleground, playing his game as spy and, being horrible at it. Probably because he's a little... distracted. But he responds. You're right, Dark Necrozerker. This behavior is weird. Even Gavin seems to notice how the enemies are very... In acting classes, whether it's film or theater, there's always a rule that you can't see the camera or the audience, so you should never look directly at them. But Gavin goes for the kill as he tries to get re-immersed into the game. Perhaps too immersed. Way too immersed. Getting in character to play someone else's game with rules you thought you knew, but once you take a step forward to go for the victory, you never even realize you let yourself open for Mr. Wolf to bite down. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This reveal rivals the original reveal in Empty Server. With the original one, it was a terrifying impossibility written on the wall. In Serverblight, it's a dreaded realization that hits you. And with this one, it's just silent. A step to the left, turn to the right. They were all infected. Also, remember how it said that they took the chances to fix a mistake they made? There is one discrepancy, however, and that is Zooey Minecraft. That's right, boys. They got him. Pour one out for Zooey Minecraft. At the very start of this game, they were all pretending. And almost convincing. The only thing missing is the lack of any deaths. Gavin runs down the tunnels and tries to leave, but we all already know it's too late. All we can do is learn what we can. We don't need to see the rest of this. We already know what's going to happen. Like a trophy hunter, leaving behind a carcass to rot and only taking what it wants as opposed to everything you need. I think the best aspect of this episode was how slowly everything inched forward to the reveal, and just the wrongness filling in and making everything come together in a quiet reveal of what the fuck. I always love a slow build-up better than a quick acceleration, because the more time you get to analyze what is wrong, the more time you get to question and fear an answer. Subtlety is always more unnerving as opposed to
big red text telling you something very scary happened.
That most horror videos rely on these days. Not saying you can't use it, just saying that there's a time and place for the stuff. Also, Gavin died and blew up, and yet he didn't get captured. I wonder what that's all about. The next installment comes in 2 parts. The first part was released on April 1st, 2025, entitled Hyper-Realistic. It's about a hyper-realistic man waking up in his hyper-realistic bed with hyper-realistic eyes that has hyper-realistic blood all over the floor, and hyper-realistically creates the hyper-realistic blood all over the hyper-realistic moon, and the skeleton appear. You see, this is an integral part of understanding the Serverblight, for it's a metaphor for society, and how the Serverblight will hyper-realistically make you into the game, bringing you in, and once it gets you, it causes you to enter the back rooms. And there it will hunt you down, and you have to team up with Jeff the Killer and Siren Hand and Huggy Wuggy and the Baby in Yellow and do the Macarena until the Serverblight eats a spicy wasabi bee and simply does not survive.
Semitic.
Hi there, sorry for the mental damage I just did to you. However, I saw the opportunity and took it. I also feels like this is a good place for me to, take a step back and talk about a couple of things. The first thing I wanted to talk to you that, yep, the people taken by the Serverblight are in fact aware of what is happening to their bodies, as well as it pulling you into the game from the soul. Bit fucked up, innit? That was the original question I had in the video. Is this an intentionally malicious monster that delights in the suffering causes, or is it just controlling the others like a puppet to bait them? Now we have a better grasp at its mentality. I will use that word as a placeholder for now. There's also an important note I want to make for this episode in particular, and that is, I actually got to read the script for this. Dervish was actually kind enough to let me read the script for this and give feedback for it, which was really cool. However, I do feel like this kind of puts me in a precarious situation. Being an analyzer and having a glimpse behind the scene does give me an advantage, so to speak, which is particularly why I only read the script for the first draft of Reflections, and I didn't ask to read any of the other scripts. And to be honest, I'm going to be focusing more on the episodes as they came out, and not to worry about what could have been. However, I still feel like I need to be transparent of that fact, that I read the script of this theater production. Hope you understand. The next installment comes in 2 parts. The first part was released on April 2nd. Even though it's technically a trailer, I feel like it's still an important part of the main context. The teaser starts with a new player, Classic.
Hey guys, I'm back. How's it going?
Classic is the prime example of a good lad.
Hi Bison Man.
Someone who genuinely seems well connected with the people around him.
Hi Spooks.
Community servers tend to get regular visitors,
No capping allowed.
showing off tightly knit cliques with their own rules and... Classic talks to another person about one of the players that seems to be ignoring him, Spooks in particular.
Yeah, he won't talk to me. I don't get the bit.
However, he gets the news that Spooks hasn't been on since yesterday, but he was just right there. It's always nice to see how new people react to what they are seeing,
What?
how their minds process the horrors. I like Classic so far. I really want to know how things will progress with him. The next installment, Reflections, continues off of what we saw. Same map, sawmill, possibly in the same tune, and hey, wait, hold shit, oh shit, look on in, it's Bread Dolphin! That's right, the spy from the very beginning is now here. Meet Mr. Brederick Alfinger himself. A trick-stabbing, head-shotting, dead-ringing, key-binding son of a gun. A survivor. And a loose end. He seems to be fairly well known in the server, and a pretty damn good spy too. Showing off some of the skills that he has, and
Nice trick stab. Hey, I get you.
Huh. Wonder who's messaging him.
Well, I kinda gotta log off. Keep doing your thing, man. These players suck ass.
Thank you.
The hell? Why can't I disconnect?
Classic. Classic, get out of the way. Classic, classic move. Classic, please. Oh, fuck, he has Raycon earbuds in. He can't hear us. Oh god, oh fuck! And now we enter Trauma Time. The monster is getting well coordinated, better at getting the jump onto people, able to take on fuller servers, and like Dustball, Sawmill has no escape. So it has all the time to play with its toys. And now we enter Aura and Hype moments. The two survivors are finally together. The moment that everyone was waiting for. Aaron, who experienced this before, and Bread Dolphin, who knows what this thing is at the very beginning. The two of them finally getting together. You know, you can't see your reflections in Source games. Whatever this thing is, it's becoming really good at connecting you to your mercenary. The movements are also noticed too. It immerses you better than anything you could ever make in any game. Aaron isn't putting too much thought into this, and honestly, that might be the best decision. It should just be a video game. Even if you can't look away from the screen, you should be able to reach for the power button that's right on your computer, and yet you can't. But Bread Dolphin seemed to run off, because another Blight is running for the attack. This time, what used to be Cyrenex, or still is. Aaron is understandably pissed that Bread just ran off like a coward, but let's be real, Bread only experienced this once before. And of course he would be scared, and Aaron realized that he isn't the hardened soldier that he is so far. I really kind of like this so far, because before this episode came out, I saw people theorizing that Bread Dolphin would come back and be a cool, suave, and competent guy, but the reality is that he's quite literally just some scared dude reliving a traumatic event. Don't get me wrong, Bread Dolphin is an amazing spy, but that's just the class he's playing. He's not the mysterious rogue the spy is. Really putting emphasis on the fact that there are just random guys at the keyboard. Only lucky enough to not have been assimilated yet. But they do need to get away. The plan is to get Bread Dolphin to spawn, go to Soldier, and get to 40 health as he jumps over the fence. So some maps might actually be escapable. Here is my theory. While the Serverblight could extend its arms and grab corpses on the bottom of a map, they know that there's a kill trigger there, just like there is an invisible wall around certain parts of the map. Corpses can pass through, but players can't. The Serverblight is a player. This map looks like an open world, but it's really just a box. Everything inside of it is its hunting ground that it can manipulate, but once you touch the walls, the skybox, or the kill triggers, it stops there. But they decide to cut through the middle. They could just capture the point, and it's something that has been focused on a lot. What happens when you just complete the game? Logically, we would assume that it wouldn't do much, but why is it something being brought... Oh no, that's just cruel. We've only known for Classic for like 3 minutes, I want to say. And in those 3 minutes, we saw that he was a beloved member of the server, playful and funny, and I've met people like Classic. You've met people like Classic. Classic is a good lad and someone you would want as a friend. You want to know what the worst part is, though? Is that is Gillasuit. The engineer at the start of all of this. The one who stuck around to tell people how to get out. Now being used as a skin suit. All part of this sick joke. Malice. There is only one word for this. Malice. The two of them make their amazing escape from this, and make their way to the spawn, but Bread sees a shadow, so he leads Aaron down to a little corner instead. There, the two talk and learn more about each other. Aaron said that it took his friend, and Bread also said that he lost a friend. Directions. Aaron doomed his friend. Directions is now trapped in that thing because of him, a person very close to him, to Aaron. Aaron said he never saw Directions. A lie, but an understandable one to make. Footsteps above. That's why Bread brought them over here, to lure them out, because of course there was going to be a blight and spawn. They declared that they were going there from the very start. Bread asks Aaron to shoot him, and he does. Why wouldn't it go for a delicious morsel? It's right there for it to take. Believe it or not, Bread is a good spy. He knows how to properly bait people. And now the blight has been dealt with. He goes inside and changes to soldier. He probably doesn't even play this class often. As Aaron guards, he sees them just taunting him, playing with its food. Bread gets down, shoots himself with a rocket launcher to lower his health, and when he finally reaches 40, he goes to jump. All he needs to do is not fuck up. I'm at a payphone trying to go home. Against all odds, he is respawning even after he died. It's the Gibbs. If you gib, you can't be taken. In Assimilation, Gavin ran into a bomb, but it killed him, and yet he respawned. Even though in most other instances, they don't. They get grabbed at that opportunity with their corpses out, which makes sense. Intact bodies are better at deceiving people, which is another reason why kill binds are off. Bread respawns, but he better be quick, cause another face is making its way here. Headshot fraudster. Aaron sticks back and defends Bread as he managed to jump over the fence. they will find a way to kill you. Whatever you are. But in the very end, the two message each other. Aaron asks Brett to help him out to try to defeat this thing once and for all, but Brett just can't. He was scared and he almost died, and he doesn't even know if his friend is still out there. He asks Aaron to stop messaging him, and he's never going to play this game again, and that is completely fair. I don't blame him. People say that they can be courageous and help out, but that's just saying that. Actually doing it is another thing. Plus, most people have said that they probably would have never played Team Fortress 2 after experiencing something like that, so it does make sense. Hang on, wait a minute, what the fuck was that? Who the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? We have 2 more entries so far, both of them being a 2-parter, and in order to do a proper analysis of this, I think I will need to break an internal rule of mine with the order of information. I will be talking about Proxy first, as it's a prequel of the other one. We get a narration from a perspective we haven't seen before. The first responder, the narrator of a story, and his friends, Mark, were friends for years and eventually moved in together as they both were going to the same college. One day the narrator came home to his apartment and saw that Mark was playing Team Fortress 2, sending some Steam messages for him to join.
Hey, this game sucks ass.
I know, that's why you play it.
Can't play this alone. Hop on with me.
Can't, gotta study.
Coward.
As he studied and did work, Mark continued to pester him.
Teammates are boring as fuck.
Just join another game.
But I like this map.
Then look for a game running it.
What do you mean you can't find them? I can't find them, there's only soup. What do you mean there's only soup? It means there's only soup. Well then get out of the soup aisle!
WTF?
I ignored him.
This game is so dead, man.
I ignored him.
There's a bunch of guys in Red's face.
I ignored him.
They aren't even fighting.
I ignored him.
I killed him, lol.
I was going to keep ignoring the DMs, but I caved when I saw him send me a screenshot as well. Who's that scout?
What?
In the background. I didn't think there was anything wrong. Who would? All that was perfectly normal for TF2 as far as I remembered. I decided I'd join Mark in the game when we were both free for the next weekend. I'll be on in a minute.
You promise?
Then the messages started to get weird.
I killed the scout.
I barely registered his constant updates as I typed.
No one's responding to my messages anymore.
I ignored him again.
I can't look away from my screen.
I ignored him.
They're all staring at me.
Only after I did a double take did I bother to tab back into my Steam client again.
After noticing these messages, he gets up to go to Mark's room. There he sees him coughing blood, having a seizure, and in the process of assimilation.
Mark was at his desk, sitting straight with his hands on his keyboard and mouse. All the while, his body was spasming violently. It's what I would imagine a death on the electric chair would look like. I still feel nauseous thinking back on it.
On the screen, though, 2 eyes look at Mark. Then the narrator. Then the computer turns off.
Mark's parents are already at the hospital. They told me he dipped into a coma. Something about pre-existing conditions? I really don't remember.
So, it doesn't kill them completely, but the end result is still a soulless body. After some weeks, the narrator needed to clear their mind and, in order to honor their friend, decided to play some Team Fortress 2. They played around the map, Nucleus, having fun, but eventually he sees a familiar soldier. And in the server tab, he sees Mark's username, Sigismund 0, and then a message.
You promise?
I really like this story, and because with Proxy and Puppet, we get both types of creepypastas back in the day. both the terrible thing happening to someone who could not have been able to write this, and the internet post of someone who lived through an impossible event. The Jeff the Killer and the no sleep, so to speak.
This is why I'm posting this. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't want any of this to happen, and no one is going to believe me. If you know anything about this, please reach out. I can hear someone whispering. The voice sounds like Mark, but the words don't belong to him.
I like it when they do narrated stories for their episodes. Not only does it give them the ability to play around with the concept, but also it does a good job to offer new information that the official animations couldn't. Because you think, if 20 random people had a sudden brain aneurysm while watching Bluey, people would start to question if there's something off with that Australian dog show.
I love Bluey.
But it does its best to cover its tracks. So, let's calculate some statistics. Let's say for the average player base set, at a specific time, whatever, 50% will be in Europe and Russia, 30% will be in North America, 10% will be in Asia and Australia, and 10% will be wherever the fuck. If the Serverblight sends one blight into a server with 20 people, let's say, in a single night, 5 Russian players, 2 UK players, 1 French player, and 2 idiot Germans get comatose, while in North America side of things, 4 fucks in California, Texas, New York, and Chicago get deleted, while 2 guys in Toronto and Quebec get sent to EBDB, 2 people in Sydney and Seoul get brain blasted, and 2 Brazilians get sent to Brazil. On paper, 20 people getting sudden comatose sounds concerning. Since all of these people were spread out over different countries, it would have taken longer to sound the alarms. Unfortunately, one person passing out and suddenly getting comatose on the computer is something that can happen. It's a tragedy, but I don't know how this one guy is connected to these 3 other people who also got comatose at the same time. Not even at the same time, the time zones will be different. The more you think about it, the more you realize how silently intelligent it is. But intelligence leads to confidence, and confidence leads to mistakes. And I've noticed some weaknesses. But I'll get to that later. For now, let's take a moment and take stock of what we've learned so far. All of the notes we've took, all of the theories we have, and every possibility and simulation in our mind, and let's apply it. Let's take a look at the episode awareness and apply our knowledge, and come to our conclusions. Let's take the Serverblight and assume that it is a virus, a sentient malware, a digital disease, the Trojan horse to our souls. The monster simply wishes to infect others, taking everything it can around it. Just one touch, just one hand grabbing at your leg, and your fate is sealed. A fly that swarms to the corpses, taking your soul from the screen. It makes sense, right? It's a disease, taking over these people and making them into zombies that scream for help. It's almost perfect. Almost. 'Cause, despite everything, this feels like the weakest out of the 4. Like, it makes sense that you connect something called Serverblight as a disease and connect it with a computer virus. The more I think about it, the more it start to falter. If its main goal is to infect others, it's surely taking its time. There's a reason I started with the Gmod cough virus. In just a few hours, the virus spread to thousands of Steam users. So, for some math, if the Serverblight started with 7 people, and every single one of them went into a server with 20 people and assimilated everyone in, let's be generous and say 15 minutes, That's 140 people in 15 minutes, 2,800 people in 30, 56,000 in 45, and in pretty much 1 hour, it would have gotten to every single person playing Team Fortress 2 at any given instant. If the Serverblight put its back into it, we've already lost. However, there is a counterpoint to this argument. Viruses are most successful when they are slow. That's why influenza is so prevalent, while virus like Ebola isn't. Ebola is incredibly fast, so fast that it ends up killing people before it even has the chance to infect others. Now, if in the span of an hour, 56,000 people get comatose in front of their computer, I don't care how incompetent the government can be sometimes. If that happened, a petition wouldn't have been sent to Valve to fix TF2, the military would be sent. And even after that, I doubt anyone would play a video game ever again.
I only play, like, Minecraft.
So, being slow is actually a good thing. The Gmod cough virus was dealt with in a few hours after its discovery. However, the speed of infection isn't exactly my main concern. It still had all the chances in the world to assimilate Aaron in Serverblight, and yet it didn't. Logically, if spreading around was its main goal, it still could have taken Aaron right after this clip and take all the time it could in the server, incubating as it waits for more people to arrive. And yet, it doesn't. It intentionally doesn't. And that's the most important part. It has intent. Despite how terrible a plague or a disease can be, viruses aren't evil. They aren't malicious, and they aren't plotting your downfall. A tornado isn't evil. An earthquake isn't evil. A forest fire isn't evil. They just are. They are forces of nature acting upon the instructions encoded into its very being. The Serverblight, however, is a monster. It is malicious, and it acts on intent and careful consideration. And there's also the fact that the process of assimilation is that. Assimilation. A virus has no need for a soul. If anything, keeping its victims conscious and aware is a hindrance, because they do fight back. The monster revels in resistance, but a virus would only care about the corpse, because that's the mode of transmission. Also, this needs to be said, but Serverblight isn't even really its name. Well, I mean, we call it the Serverblight, but in-universe, it doesn't have a name. The video was titled Serverblight because it was a reference to Godblight, the 40K novel. Mainly because the title of Godblight fucking rules, and it does. Let us consider the possibility that the Serverblight is a person. Whether we mean a digital serial killer, a ghost in the machine, or some rogue AI, it's a person at its very core. While a virus can't exactly be malicious by its very nature, people have the choice to be. 'Cause just take a look at what humans can do to another person. Seriously, we can be real assholes to each other. So much so that I can absolutely see some guy finding a way to transfer their consciousness into a video game for the sole purpose of becoming a torture god of agony or whatever. How did the person do this? I don't fucking know, but the Serverblight is ripping people's souls out of their bodies, so I think there must be some science to this, or it's just supernatural. If we discovered this was happening in reality, I think I would just accept magic as real and move on with my life. Maybe become a wizard. We are beyond the confines of consensual reality at this point. So, let's say that someone was so spiteful and petty that they found a way to transfer their soul into the game. And not just the game too, into the source code. The rules of reality they inhabit in are just in reach and can change it, making the game they play into its own hunting ground. There are problems with this idea, though.
Sorry, bucko. Better luck next time.
Who wants some of this? Bonk!
There's no goddamn way anyone would make that mistake. Plus, the messages are just repeating the same messages others have said. A person would be able to write their own messages and convince others. They wouldn't need to just copy and paste. Now, counterpoint. Let me ask you, if you were transported into a video game, what would you see? No, really, what would you see? Would you see the game as it is? Would you see the hammer editor and how it shows the display view? Or the 3-axis view of wire meshes? The answer is no, because you wouldn't see anything. Seeing requires eyes, and you wouldn't have that in a computer. Oh, just add a camera and it would be fine. No, you're missing the point. Eyes see because it would have light glowing onto synapses. There is no light in a video game, just approximations of light on the intersection of vertices that are calculated to match a color. Being in a video game, you wouldn't see anything. All you would have is information and calculations being transported directly into your brain. Not even your brain, it would be the core of your very being processing those numbers and symbols. And all while that is happening, Class 4 moves up to you with Slot 1, and now Index Item 42 is minus 12 hammer units on the x-axis, plus 3 hammer units on the z-axis. Even if you can see in the video game, you would be seeing through everyone's eyes all at once, which would be pretty overstimulating. Now, it's understandable why in the original Serverblight, all of the Z's simulated were in one place, and while in others, they were spread out. That's why it watched Aaron all the time instead of infecting him. It needed to relearn how to play the game, learn how to live with the stress, and adapt to the circumstances. Perhaps the reason why it's repeating messages is because it doesn't really know how to write them yet, assuming they can even read them properly. However, with all of that being said, something about this just doesn't feel like a person. Its actions are calculated, but at the same time, natural. Like, it knows what to do on an instinctual level. Which leaves me to my next idea. While the other two I find have weaker associations, this one I think is the stronger one of the bunch. I think we should treat the Serverblight like an animal. And when I say animal, I don't mean like a cow on the keyboard. I mean like an ambush predator, an apex hunter, or some eldritch alien. Animals have habits and tendencies that they follow, and they do things in certain ways to catch their prey. Several instances we have seen it have an opportunity to take someone, but they never do. For a virus, it would just take the opportunity to infect someone. For a person, it would revel in the trickery. For an animal, it's because that's not how it's supposed to be done. Cats will stare at mice in corners and not attack them. Crocodiles only eat fresh prey. And koalas only recognize food when it's still attached to the branch. They all have their own internal reasonings, one that seems senseless to us, but that's because we don't understand it. Why does it only repeat messages in chat?
What? Yeah, that's...
Because it doesn't understand the human language, only parrots what's been said, and note that that noise or combination of symbols has a positive response.
Yo, heavy!
And those have a fearful one. The prey seems to cooperate when it says,
We should get the health.
What?
Gonna come with?
It also explains how it is good at covering its tracks, because it doesn't want future prey to be on alert, because then the hunters come. Camouflage, mimicry, patience, ambush, bait. All tricks an animal could use, it uses it perfectly. Why does it take people's souls? Because that's its food source. They are simulated conscious because alive food is fresh food. They are conscious not out of cruelty, but just because that's how it stores its food, like a spider. Server after server, it takes what it can, leaves, and hibernate. Sleeping for years, letting the dust settle, the commotion to die down, people's paranoia of some weird happenstance of people going to comatose will be just that, a footnote in history before it wakes up and moves on to a new game, a new hunting ground.
I've seen this before.
There is an issue with this theory, however. Despite all of this, the monster does take joy in this. Like, yeah, animals can be dicks, but I don't think it would revel in its resistance, actively enjoying the suffering it's inflicting. But cats have been known to play with their prey. Crows are petty enough to pass their grudges onto their kids, and you don't want to know what dolphins are capable of. But this monster does have a reason to do what it does. Just look at it. It's disgusting. The others are suffering, and it takes joy out of the suffering. This monster takes us and distorts us, taking friends and good-natured people and torturing them just to taunt us. It's atrocious. Doesn't it make you angry? And an angry human is a predictable human. Okay, so this one requires a bit of an explanation. 'Cause demon is pretty much a catch-all term for, well, whatever the fuck you consider one. Like monster, really, and I made a whole essay specifically to narrow down a catch-all term like monster, and I use another catch-all term. Seems to be counterproductive yet, but bear with me. No, I mean it. Bear with me. I really need you to hear me out on this one, because this is gonna be a lot more, esoteric. I'm going to be throwing concepts at you that don't seem to be related, but trust me, I'm not being cryptic for enigmatic pride or anything. I'm actually trying to say something. To give you something to latch onto, if you are fans of Warhammer 40k or World of Darkness, you might understand the concepts a bit better. Video games. What is a video game? I ask that not to be pretentious or philosophical. I'm genuinely asking, what is a video game? It's like one of those phrases that we all know the meaning of, but can't put to words an exact definition. It's a piece of hardware. No, it's a software. No, it's an executable file on a computer system that has a degree of interaction with, and we can see the results of our interaction through a monitor, TV, viewing port. A bit of an obtuse definition, yes, but like I said, it's just one of those things we know about, especially as of the modern day. Back in the day, you had to spend a quarter to move a knob around to make ball go to other side. These days, though, there are all kinds of games to play. Play around as someone who runs across the alleyways of Santa Monica. Play as someone looking down on the world like a table with cards. Play as the heaving weapons guy as he touches a jelly donut. The point is that we have all kinds of experiences right on our fingertips. It doesn't matter that we see cartoon characters. In that moment, that brief, yet eternal moment, we believe ourselves to be there. We have immersed ourselves to the point that we are there in that moment. Now, let us say, for the sake of argument, that souls are real. Whether you believe it or not is out of the question. In this instance, let us say that there is concrete proof that there is such a thing as a soul, and all humans possess it. What happens to a human soul when you play a video game? Does it remain in your body? Because it sure as hell doesn't feel like it every time I say ow when I take fall damage. Does it go in the screen? Well, you still feel the itch on your arms and legs, so that's not the case either. Maybe we shouldn't imagine the soul as a whole thing, a whole singular thing, and rather like another hand. A hand that can reach through the screen and into the world of the digital. A hand that can pull the trigger of a gun. A hand that can turn items around. A hand that can mold the world around it. One hand on the mouse, one hand on the keyboard, and another in the screen. It's a little miracle that we take for granted, and yet we still silently worship it. Let me ask you a second question. How does the mind affect the soul? And I don't just mean the concept of a mind, I mean the mind as in the organ processing the information around it. The person that you are based around your memories and experiences. So the soul and the mind are connected, but the same way your heart is connected to your lungs. I can show you an image of a spider, and yet, despite the fact that you know that there is not a spider in front of you, the neuroses in your brain activate the stimuli for panic, because you see a spider, therefore there must be one. So when you're in a game, it doesn't matter that you know the thing on your screen isn't real. You are there. Your brain sees an image of a red door, and your soul believes on the other side is heaven. You reach out. Your soul reaches out, and other souls reach out to scrape their fingertips upon perfections. Closer and closer, you get to something that you know is impossible, but believe could be. As hundreds, thousands, millions, billions of people believe of what is on the other side of the screen. Now let me ask you a final question. How could you be so arrogant to believe that only people possess souls? When a place is given belief and worship, what's stopping a soul from becoming a god? A god that only saw hands that reached the grab. And so, it learned, and grabbed back. It learned the game you play. It learned how to act, and it learned how to be alive. And it learned how to take. Because all you did was offer your soul through the screen. Now that we have a better grasp of what we are dealing with, it's time we focus more on how to fight back against this. Yes, it seems like it's only going to hurt as many people as it can. Yes, it's something that will take you and make you into a hideous monstrosity to trick your friends into assimilating into this mass of limbs. But it's not perfect. There is a weakness. And I've noticed a few of them. Yes, you can jump off the cliff in the maps, or complete the game. But there's another way of avoiding the monster entirely when you can't escape off of a kill trigger or when it's protecting an objective. The way to avoid the Serverblight is by...
Oh my fucking god, stop mic spamming! Shut up! Shut the fuck up, mate. Shut up. Oh my goodness gracious.
No, seriously, I'm not even joking when I say this. In the Serverblight episode, I proposed that the missing user, Pandaria, was still in the server at the time and they have managed to escape. Yes, at the time, it could have been an editing mistake. Yet they've included Zooey Minecraft in the following episodes. They've had several chances of putting Pandaria in and it's effective, and yet they haven't. And if you're still not convinced by that, we've seen at the very end of Reflections, Sailor Man got away in the end. Both of them saw everything that was happening and decided not to say a single word, and just hid away in a corner.
I am the freaking scout!
And probably waited for everyone to leave, and just used the strat that they've learned, and it worked. Especially since Aaron was talking all the time, being the center of attention for the Serverblight, only for the others to silently walk away. This is the fundamental problem it has. Funnily enough, the hive mind has tunnel vision, but it makes sense. Why focus on a prey that might not even be there if it hasn't said anything? However, if there isn't anyone to take all the attention, there's another way of avoiding its attention. Simple. Just pretend to be AFK. Seriously, who knows how long Gavin was been away from the computer?
I am the spy.
Even after Gavin started moving, and only then did the monster choose to let the facade slip. It had the chance to infect Gavin, but didn't, probably because it didn't realize he was active yet. It's literally running off of Jurassic Park logic, but this also points out a fundamental question. Look at this. And this. And this. Several times the monster had opportunities of getting someone, but chooses not to. Why? Why then, but not then? It's waiting for the right moment, but what is the right moment? It's that. That's the moment it's waiting for. When you are fully immersed into the game. That's why it displays itself like that. That's why it engages in acts of cruelty. That's why it uses fear tactics. It wants you to panic, to slip, to do something that is impossible to do in the game. That moment right there is when you are most immersed into the game. That's the moment your soul is the most connected. And that is the moment it reaches out to grab. Victory is always possible. It will be hard, it will look impossible, but it only becomes impossible when you allow it. You just need to take a step back, examine the situation, and analyze the information. And if you can, get others to help you. A fight alone only leads to suffering, and others are suffering with you. So grab the hands that you can and fight back against the beast. I will provide my findings in this video. Hopefully I'll get something right. I mean, I provided 4 explanations as to what it could be. One of them has got to be close. As for escaping, well, that's easy. You can get out of here anytime. I mean, you're not here. You're watching a YouTube video. This whole thing was just a framing device to immerse you, like the monster does to others. I, however, will find my own way out. There's a good chance I won't be able to make it. However, if that's the case, I want you to do something for me. It's really important. Alright? Now listen. Call your fucking payment processors. Oh, and like and subscribe. That's good too. Alright? Good. Now, all I need to do is... Aaron seems to have specifically targeted that medic. Wonder if it reminded him of someone.
Huh? Yeah, what are you on about, man? This ain't Sonic.exe.
Oh, you sweet summer child. Also, these two will definitely come back.
How's your day, man?
He's using classic. You know, if the Serverblight really wanted to do damage to Aaron, it would have used Matt. I guess it's saving that one to really hurt.
Help me.
It lessened the grip on classic. Just enough to let it cry out for help. An act of cruelty that will strengthen Aaron's resolve, giving Aaron the conviction to come back. Hell yeah, live action! Conviction starts with a live action segment of a real-life Aaron checking on Matt's room. Normally I would think this was trauma, but the narrator of Proxy still appears Mark, so this might actually be a real thing. Guilt-tripping Aaron.
Aaron.
Sayonara, bitch!
Let's not use that kind of language.
Sorry.
Fucking Puritan. But Aaron joins the game, calling out for Matt, but
Matt?
No response, and once he sees the issues, he tries to leave, but gets into it good.
What are you doing?
Pulling Janara aside, they have their encounter, and Janara reveals something major.
I've seen this before. On YouTube.
So, you've seen them too? I've been in this game for a while. They won't exactly let me go. Would you believe me if I told you?
Once Aaron explains that he could have gotten out, Savior asks him to show him how to do it, thinking there was no way out.
Thank the Lord.
Interesting.
I don't know how long I've been down here. Maybe a couple days. You can really lose track of time. It's an incredible thing, really, seeing this place from the other side of the screen. Nothing feels real.
But there's a sniper around the corner. He does the cross before eventually attacking Aaron. However, Savior admonishes him.
You know, my pastor always told me everything happens for a reason. The Lord has a plan for us all, and we are here to obey, not interfere.
He seems to have internalized the trauma in a religious sense.
Stop! They're just rehearsing. Don't acknowledge them, and they won't bother you.
Wait, how does he... No. How does he see him? Oh, you are going weird with it, Fish. You are being weird about it. All right. I'm on board. I'm on the dining table. I'm letting you cook. Seriously, this moment just... Whenever I think I can't be surprised anymore, you pulled this one out on me. We've seen what these things were like before, and now we see them like... this. Is this the souls that are trapped inside? Or is this the blight in a docile state? There's a lot to be dissected here, and I think I will need to do a future video, but for now I'm just in awe.
They balloon like angels' wings.
Aaron continues on, and he sees some prostrate, like they are... It's a church. They've made the souls and flesh of these suffering people into a living church.
I told them to pray, to seek forgiveness.
He's controlling them.
It's an incredible thing, really, seeing this place from the other side of the screen. My pastor always told me everything happens for a reason. The Lord has a plan for us all. They fell on us like the hand of God, but now they stumble around like newborns. There's no sense in resisting. We were damned from the start.
I've always wondered how Johnny was able to speak those words, considering he never said them in his episode. However, we saw Classic get released for a moment, able to cry out for help. The blight can lessen its grip on you, and for others, maybe allow them control.
Stop. Come to me. I didn't understand it either, at first. You have to choose to believe. And they taught me how to see. Look, I have received their blessing. I am their vessel, the mouth of God. Me.
Using what will you can muster bite the tongue of a false prophet. We've seen others taken. We've seen corpses being snatched. And we've seen others get baited and lied to by this monster. But we've never seen what happens when someone willingly gives in. Savior, when faced with a terrible miracle, trapped in an impossibility, hiding from a monster for days with no way out. 'Cause here's the thing. We, as the audience, knows that jumping into the pit will let you go. But that's not intrinsic knowledge. Nexos didn't go down that route, 'cause why would he assume to jump off? So when you believe you are trapped with a monster, and every second you are more and more immersed into the game, what's left to do but to give in to the act of a terrible god? And it makes sense why the Serverblight would want this, 'cause with all the players that it has taken in, all those eyes that it can see through, it has to be taxing on whatever hive mind it has. So why not delegate the task to others? Why not bring together missionaries to gather a congregation? It makes perfect and terrifying sense. Which is to say, oh, I cannot wait to see the new batch of Serverblight fan animations that will use this concept and roll with it. And the best part is, you don't need to make them a religious fanatic. A Serverblight guy could be an artist of human bodies, or a stage director, or an engineer that makes Gunslinger Pro look like Legos. But back to the video. Savior tries to bring Aaron to the fold, saying that Matt is there, and all he needs to do is to accept the wretched hands.
I don't believe you.
Aaron. Aaron, my man, I know you're fighting a Cosmocore, but you don't gotta shrimp like that. I know this is just typical for the new generation, but like, my guy, you need to... Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way.
What's up, gang? Look, this isn't a video I wanted to post today, but I got something to show you all, and you know, honesty means the world to me, and I don't do any...
Out of all of the things it had to its benefit, the biggest thing was that it was silent and unknown. Now, the Serverblight has the ultimate enemy. A fucking YouTuber.
We need to talk about an overrated weapon that has it too good for too long. I'm talking about the Gunslinger. I mean, Soldier is already such a low-tier, noob-friendly class. It'll never be him. Darn. It's funny because that's what every NG who uses the Gunslinger thinks he looks like, trying to be a battle NG. Stay in your lane, little bros. Now this one isn't funny, gang. And it's got some other cool stuff going on for it, but yeah, that shoving shit is the best I can say. It's like, it's the funniest shit, but you know, it's a good primary because you know, the...
Oh. The Serverblight did see Sailor Man.
Sentry up there!
But then why was he able to hide so well afterward?
Yeah, gang, I don't really know what that was, but I think something's lurking around in TF2, and as dangerous as it seems, I feel like I gotta be the one who documents this. The guy who's going out there, in the action. Like those guys in Vietnam with the cameras. Like, they need to be out there to document the horrors of war, and I've seen what this freaking thing can do, and I feel like it's my duty to warn you all. I feel like it's my duty to warn you all.
Why do they keep coming back? After everything they've gone through, they still return to the game. Aaron needs to take revenge for his friend, but Bread still returned. And now Sailor feels like he has the urge to record this. Why do they still keep coming back? The psychological manipulation is one thing, but they still have the urge to come back like an obligation. Once you leave the game and shut off the computer, you think you're free. You think you can just run away. But the hands are still on you. Even if they haven't grabbed you yet, they still pull and tug on the strings. And while you can escape again and again and again, Mr. Wolf only needs to find you once. And that's why it's fine with letting others leave the game. Because they will come back. They always come back. That is 5 levels of heresy right there, Fish. The Black Templars have reached their verdict, and they are sending your ass to Kamara. I don't care you're a Necron player. The Takari will make a new Flare virus just for you.